is the Urban Debate 360 on Magic Bricks Now. I'm Faye D'Souza. On 360, we bring you a power-packed lineup of civic news that affects the quality of your life in any of India's urban centres. Let's take a look at what's making headlines today. The Mumbai police says strict action will be taken against the two boys who killed a police officer. Magic Bricks now learns that the police has recorded witness statements and will submit its report on the 6th of September. That's a Magic Bricks Now exclusive. Massive health crisis has broken out in Delhi. The LG has been forced to invoke ESMA to bring nurses back to work at a time when city hospitals are flooded and overflowing with dengue, chikungunya patients. Political parties, meanwhile, are busy dissecting the Aam Aadmi Party minister's sex tape. We ask, who is responsible for running Delhi? The All India Trade Union Congress called for a nationwide strike. Metros in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore were partially impacted, but the real impact was really felt in left-ruled states of Kerala and Tripura. Right, news just coming in. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has unveiled the state's new housing policy today. The policy mainly focuses on providing higher FSI for redevelopment of land plots. What's more, suburbs will benefit from redevelopment as well. Now, Ruchi Deshpande was tracking that event. She's on the phone line right now. Ruchi, what I'm interested in knowing is, does the housing policy in any way mention what's going to happen with the salt pan lands? That's what people were most interested in. Will salt pan now become available for development?
Well, that was one of the things that was expected to be announced by the Maharashtra government in their new housing policy. But the Maharashtra government did not say anything about those affordable houses on the 650 acres of salt pan lands that are mostly in the Mumbai suburbs, in the northwestern Mumbai suburbs of Ghatkopar. Absolutely no announcement on that front. What was announced, however, was a big focus on redeveloping, especially those of plots that were about 2,000 square meters. The FSI given for this will be 3. If a builder wants FSI beyond that, he will not pay a premium in this case, but he will have to promise certain housing stock to MHADA. Moreover, one more thing that was in focus here was the fact that the redevelopment policy for old, dilapidated and cessed buildings in South Bombay, which was exclusive to the island city, has now been extended to the suburbs. So in case we are looking at any building to be redeveloped in the suburban areas of Mumbai, we can definitely expect them to be taller.
Many thanks for joining us with those details. Nirchan Hirandani joins me now on the phone line. Mr. Hirandani, good evening. Thank you for making time for us. We're talking about the housing policy that has just been announced, and we do know that this government has very ambitious, targets for affordable housing. We haven't had any mention, unfortunately, about salt pan lands. That's something we wanted clarity on. But higher FSI of 3 for 2,000 square meters and above on redevelopment. How important and how likely is that to give a fillip to affordable housing? Mr. Hirandani, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
All right. So my question was, the announcement that we've heard right now is an FSI of 3 for redevelopment of any space that's larger than 2,000 square meters. Is that enough to sort of really encourage affordable housing in the state?
No, I don't think so. I think the government will have to look at the open lands which are available, whether it's salt pan lands or others, in order to create higher amount of stock, because the time taken for the purposes of doing redevelopment in terms of settling with the occupants, owners, tenants and other things and landlords, and then really working on redevelopment, takes a long period of time. I think if the government needs to meet the targets which the Prime Minister said, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis will have to focus on the salt pan land or other open lands also, because the time frame in which we are talking about is pretty short, and there's no other way to do it but to look at open lands also.
Mr. Hirandani, there was also some mention of the fact that any developer in this redevelopment scheme who wants to go past 3 FSI can do so without having to pay a premium, as long as he commits a certain amount of stock to MHADA. Again, my deepest concern here is the fact that the government agency of MHADA has been woefully inadequate in creating the kind of housing that's actually necessary simply in the city. We're not even talking about the rest of the state here. Again, the government failing to create an impetus for public-private partnership.
Basically, the issue is different. The issue is that the government is trying to absolve itself from a responsibility of creating this housing stock. So what they're saying is earlier in the MHADA schemes, they were wanting the developers to pay a premium for the additional FSI that they could purchase for the purposes of redevelopment. But now what they're saying is that we don't want this premium. We want the responsibility for the additional stock to be created by private developers. That's a challenge because I think there was a lot of resistance for people who are doing MHADA development to follow the course wherein stock was to be created. However, we'll have to read the details of the scheme in order to understand if there are variations of the scheme which provides adequate incentive for the people to give more housing stock to the MHADA rather than do it in the private sector by paying the premium.
Well, we've had this conversation several times over that if the government truly wants to create affordable housing, and not just the definition of what the government thinks is affordable, but affordable housing where the average middle class Mumbaikar or the average middle class Punekar can buy a home, that they have to open up land, they have to make land more accessible, maybe even titling, something we've seen the Rajasthan government do, the Maharashtra government has not done. This actually just seems like, it was built up as a big announcement and nothing really came of it. I'm very disappointed.
We'll have to read the detail in the writing. But one thing is certain. A couple of weeks ago, I think the Chief Minister did mention that in order to create affordable housing, really the land values have to be almost zero in order to cater to that sector of society which could afford a house, because land values in Mumbai have gone through the roof. So the challenge is really to see, can you get a zero land value to bring into additional stock, either by increase or FSI, or to add stock of such things like you mentioned earlier, which is salt pan land, in order to increase the land area availability for this. The municipal corporation has already initiated this move by including salt pan lands under the definition of rehabilitation and other schemes that are required to be done. If the government can follow this track, which is already initiated by Mr. Ajay Mehta in the development plan, I think we could do a hell of a lot of work in the next 3 to 5 years. But as you said, he has not yet mentioned it. We hope that will come in a separate announcement in respect of salt pan lands.
All right, Mr. Hirandani, many thanks for giving us time right now to talk about the Maharashtra government's housing policy. It does seem like there are ambitious targets being set by the government, both centre and state, to create affordable housing. But none of the announcements that we're hearing are going to take us anywhere closer to those targets. It's all lip service and PR up till now. We've not seen anything truly path-breaking to create housing, whether it's affordable or middle class, in Mumbai or anywhere else in Maharashtra. But moving on to our continued coverage of the case of assault on a Mumbai policeman 2 days after the death of Head Constable Vilas Shinde, Magic Bricks Now reporter Disha Shah visited the petrol station, which was the scene of the attack. And I want to remind our viewers, Vilas Shinde, who was a head constable, was standing at the petrol station on SV Road in Khar, enforcing the no helmet, no petrol rule, when 2 young boys hit him on the head with a wooden stick. He died a week later. Here is what Disha learned when she visited that petrol station.
The place where I'm standing right now, this is the petrol pump at SV Road in Bandra West. This exactly is the same spot where the traffic constable Vilas Shinde was attacked by 2 boys aged 17 and 21. According to the eyewitnesses here that we spoke to, they told us that the juvenile came here to fill petrol in his bike, and that was when Shinde spotted him without wearing a helmet and asked him for his vehicle documents and license, and it was then the minor got into an argument with him, and then Shinde ended up telling him to call his parents, but the juvenile ended up calling his brother, who came with a wooden stick and hit on his head right from behind making him unconscious on the spot. However, when we spoke to the petrol pump manager, they told us that there are two CCTV cameras at this particular petrol pump, one on the extreme left hand side, which you can see this particular CCTV camera. He told us that it wasn't functioning and it wasn't working at the time of the incident, but there is another CCTV camera which is to my extreme right, and that the whole incident could have been captured on that particular CCTV camera. In fact, when we also spoke to the eyewitnesses out here, they told us that for 2 hours his body was lying here unconscious, and there was nobody who came to his rescue. Nobody came to his help. The vehicles were passing by. They were busy looking at the unconscious body, but nobody actually came and helped the victim. In fact, we also got to know that it was only 2 hours later that the ambulance came and took Shinde to the Leelavati hospital. However, when we spoke to the police officials who are investigating the entire case, they told us that such basically attacks won't stop them from taking serious actions against both the juvenile and his elder brother. So this is the case that we will keep a very close eye here on Magic Bricks Now. This is Isha Shah for Magic Bricks Now.
Now, the Assistant Commissioner of the Police in Bandra, Sanjay Kadam, spoke exclusively with our reporter. He's promised strict action against the juvenile offender and his brother to make an example that this sort of behaviour is unacceptable.
Since the head constable been dead, a section is added, updated as 302, and the elder one today was produced before, that is Abdullah. He was produced before the Honourable Magistrate in Bandra, and the court was pleased to give him in police custody till 6th of this month. And the juvenile is in juvenile court and will be contesting our case there.
Okay, but after 6th, sir, then what is going to be the call? Do you think that, of course, this will act as one of the incident to improve, going ahead, making better policies for the traffic police?
First thing is that this type of attack will not deter us from taking action. Definitely, traffic police, they are studying this case, and they are also analyzing, and they will come out with some good arrangement to deal with such criminals and completing their analysis.
And on 23rd of August, we also got to know that the CCTV footage was being analysed. One of the police official had told us. But now, I mean, what does the CCTV footage shows? I mean, what are you analysing right now from the footage?
Madam, that is part of investigation, and we are taking all care to check all the CCTV footages, and we'll come out with better results.
Well, on Magic Bricks Now, we take this case very, very seriously. In fact, last night we demanded that the state government make sure that the family of Vilas Shinde receives compensation, and compensation that is dispatched on time. The government has promised us 4 to 6 weeks within when the compensation will be dispatched. We also want to make sure that the family continues to remain in the government housing and is not evicted from government housing. And we demanded yesterday that the government formulate a policy for constables to make sure that they have safety and they have better working conditions. Shaina NC, the national spokesperson of the BJP, has told us that the Chief Minister of Maharashtra is taking very close look at the demands that have been made, and he will take up the matter in the Assembly very soon.
Talk about our city being safe and secure, there's an important point that our policemen safe and secure. We need to ensure that security, and our Chief Minister has given a statement yesterday where he stands in solidarity with Mr. Shinde and his family, and we will ensure that we don't have these kind of issues again in life. I hope that we are in a position to respect our police force rather than constantly be at loggerheads. We must remember they are the protectors and not the destroyers, so security of them is an issue of the Maharashtra state government, which will be raised in the Assembly as well.
One more thing, are you also looking at technologies like CCTV, Challan system, etc. to sort of step up security?
Yes.
Also, do you have that kind of manpower?
we have to have, we've engaged with Larsen and Turbo for CCTV cameras. This is not just in spots which are popular, but also in secluded areas. As far as police are concerned, whether it's a beat constable, correct, vests, which we've been talking about since 2611 for traffic police helmets, all kinds of provision which will be provided by this government under the leadership of Devendra Fadnavis.
We're moving on. 1.8 million left affiliated workers participated in today's nationwide strike call to protest against the central government's labour policy. All government services, along with banking and transportation, took a hit, derailing all civil functions. Now, the RSS-associated Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh was the only major union to have ignored the Bandh call. In the south, Kerala and Karnataka have been hit the hardest. Moderate effects have been noticed in Delhi and Mumbai as well, where essential services like water and electricity were hugely unaffected. Ruchi Bhatia tells us about the impact on Mumbai and Delhi. Ruchi?
A rather tepid response to the 24-hour strike that was called in by 10 trade unions. As you can see behind me, there are a lot of people who are still there, but life is back and moving. Public transport is back, and so there was a fear that power and water supplies will also be affected, which at this point of time has not happened. There's a huge police presence as well around the area, but the fact that Delhi government has invoked the Essential Services and Maintenance Act is the reason that public transport, essential services like public transport, hospitals, they are back and moving, which is of course a good thing. However, in areas, in states like Kerala, in states like Karnataka, there's still a lot of concern that there is a lot of inactivity. Remember, trade unions have been asking for a minimum wage of 18,000 rupees per month, but the government so far is not really agreeing to their demands. Apart from that, there is a 12-point charter, and trade unions are also asking for social security benefits. Of course, there is no clarity from the government on all those things. Remains to be seen what will be the next course of action by the government and also by the trade unions after there is a little tepid response to the strike today, because at least in places like Delhi and Mumbai, things are back and moving at this point of time. We are in the central business district of Bengaluru, and as you can see, it's not a complete band here. Vehicular movement is very much there in all the key roads of Bengaluru. Yes, it's much lesser than on other days, which is why it took many people much lesser time to actually get to work today compared to other days. But it's not really a blanket band, so to speak, in Bengaluru. As far as companies are concerned, we have been talking to the likes of Infosys, TCS, Flipkart. They told us that they have given employees an option to work from home, but otherwise it's really business as usual. In terms of transportation, Ola and Uber have been operational today, so that again has come to the rescue of many people. So yes, Bharat Bandh, but not a complete Bandh, as you can see.
Today, here at the Guindy railway station, workers belonging to different unions from mostly the left unions as well as the DMK-backed unions are protesting here, staging a road roko. Similar kind of agitations are being held across Tamil Nadu as part of the nationwide Bandh. And on the other hand, business is as usual here in Chennai and rest of Tamil Nadu. The autos drivers have decided to keep themselves away from the streets, but on the other hand, the public transport is in full swing. The local train services are running running as per schedule, and the metro too is running as per schedule. But on the other hand, what we witness is similar protest all over Tamil Nadu at different places in front of central government establishments. Workers have been staging protests, and in a short while from now, all these people who have been protesting here will be arrested by the Chennai police in Guindy.
Well, it's obviously the national capital and everybody wants a slice of Delhi. From the Aam Aadmi Party government, the BJP-appointed Lieutenant Governor and the BJP-run civic bodies, everybody is fighting for a piece of the pie. Caught in the crossfire is the city itself and its citizens. Here's a special report.
You guys all deserve an award for being able to get here today. I don't know if you came in boats or amphibious vehicles of some kind, but I salute you for being here. Thank you very, very much for making the effort.
Stinging sarcasm from the US Secretary of State, who was on a state visit to the national capital this week. His statement, posted and reposted on social media, was enough to make any proud Indian cringe with embarrassment. But not the powers that be in Delhi. A day after the deluge, here's what CM Arvind Kejriwal was busy doing.
Delhi government led by the Aam Aadmi Party has moved Supreme Court primarily against the High Court order. The order had said that the protocol remains, which is that Lieutenant Governor continues to remain the administrative head.
The Lieutenant Governor and the civic bodies meanwhile maintained a stony silence. As political parties got busy politicking over the latest AAP-engineered controversy, citizens continued to suffer.
मुझे तो नहीं लगता केजरीवाल साहब ने काफ़ी अच्छा काम किया हुआ है. अगर ऐसा होता तो उनके जो मिनिस्टर्स हैं वही करप्ट ना होते.
तो ऐसा जो ये केजरीवाल जी कहते हैं मैं ये कर दूंगा वो गए, ऐसे ये पब्लिक के एक लहर थी उस टाइम जो ये जीत गए. और आज की डेट में भी इलेक्शन हो जाए तो आम आदमी पार्टी नहीं आएगी.
Choked and potholed roads are just one aspect of the civic crisis that the capital is grappling with. With the skies opening up, city hospitals are flooded with dengue and chikungunya cases. According to an MCD data, Delhi has recorded 432 cases of chikungunya and 487 cases of dengue and 20,311 cases of the vector-borne disease. These are the numbers as of 27th of August. And these are merely those cases that have been reported. As magic bricks now found, hospitals are rapidly running out of beds and essential medicines.
परसों से भाग रहे हैं इस हॉस्पिटल में, रात से कोई नहीं सुन रहा है. और कल थोड़ा बहुत 1-2 बोतल चढ़ा दी थी ग्लूकोज के, बोले अब घर जाओ.
मैं नोएडा से लेके आ रही हूँ. इसे फीवर है, कोल्ड है. इसको डॉक्टर ने तो देख लिया, इसको ब्लड टेस्ट के लिए बोला है, बट अभी तक नंबर नहीं आया. हम 8 बजे से यहाँ खड़े हैं और हम नोएडा से आए. हमने बहुत हॉस्पिटल का नाम सुना था, हमें कोई भी सुविधा दिख ही नहीं रहा है. और ये भी बच्चा भूखा है, मैं इतने सारे बिस्किट लेके खड़ी से दे नहीं रही हूँ. ये भूख के मारे तरफ पर अभी तक नंबर नहीं आया.
Absolute chaos in Delhi, given the number of vector-borne, mosquito-borne diseases that we're seeing spread in Delhi right now. Where is the Chief Minister? Why isn't this being taken more seriously? And no response at all from anybody in the government.
The Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, his area of Shashi Garden Jhugis, they have such a problem that they have raised their height of the flooring by 3 feet, and the entire height available in the house is some 7 feet only. The hospitals that are doing the major service are AIIMS and other, which are taken care by the central government.
It's almost a borderline posturing, justification, denial that we are actually hearing from our political class. And I'm telling you, if PWD was run by BJP and if MCD was run by Aam Aadmi Party, things would not be any different. There is systemic problem in the way our political class looks at this responsibility, because it's not just a Delhi problem, by the way. The same situation that we are talking about Delhi is in Gurgaon as well. We've seen Chennai, we've seen Bangalore, and today of course we're talking about Delhi. These are not.
I can give you data. I have just tweeted. The data is there. There's a drop of over 50% this time.
If we can't do anything with the big nalas, because it is the duty of the PWD, we have to tell the people of Delhi that Anas is no more, because PWD's nalas were not covered. We have to ask the CM, where is he? Where is his cabinet? Where is all they have gone to the jails?
In times of such crisis,
Dr. Saab, if
both
one agency is not
whether it's the cooperation of the government, they should work with each other.
Their big nalas are not covered.
Why can't we just come together, set aside our differences and actually work?
Unless and until we don't work through the year, we will land up with the same problem again next year. I think desilting of the drainage systems, keeping ourselves future ready, even now if we work and do the road repairs in a proper manner, see the quality of work with which the roads are repaired. Look at the construction sites, the way they've been managed. I think there's an immense amount which needs to be done. This is not a point and a stage in which we throw mud at each other and say, whose fault it is. I think it's a collective responsibility. Internationally, we are becoming a laughing stock. On one hand, we are saying we are a destination of international medical tourism. We are going to put people away from us. People are not going to come to us.
Some kind of a joke when MCD says that it's one of the most responsible and accountable institutions that we have in the country. Don't we know there is enough evidence for us as ask a citizen on the street, and we don't need experts for this. The kind of governance that is
don't do like this. If I'm telling you if I'm telling you as an MCD, if I'm telling you as an MCD person that we have done this much, we have taken so many preventive measures. We are going to every person.
Okay, let me get a voice.
Our small constituencies. We are going
You're
to
not
our
letting
small
him finish. Shobha Vichendra, you're not letting him speak.
We are going to our small constituencies every day on daily basis.
You're sending notices, you're saying you're carrying out awareness campaigns.
What
about fogging
drives? We have to prosecute.
Still there are the number of cases number of
give me one.
You cannot keep throwing the ball in other parties' court. You know, so let's at least begin to think when we are facing a crisis that we should be at least providing such waste bins which don't get stolen. It doesn't require a great deal of imagination to come up with waste bins which don't get stolen. Isn't it obvious that in our poor country that waste bins are likely to get stolen? I mean, for God's sake, that's not a defense that, oh, the citizens have to cooperate. First, you have to use your imagination so that you think about what might happen.
Well, in the meantime, let's take a look at what else is making news across the country. The rain in Hyderabad continues to cause damage. Take a look.
Well, let's start off with Mumbai. Some relief coming in for Mumbaikars. Mumbai's civic body, the BMC, which was caught in the eye of a storm over deciding to install stalls at the Metro Cinema Junction, is going back on its own statement. Following a tussle between the Shiv Sena and the BJP-led government, the Bridges Department has now made it very clear that structures won't come up in the underpass. According to the BMC report, this space will only be used for pedestrians. The civic body of Bengaluru BBMP is finding it difficult to give its citizens pothole-free roads despite resurfacing them with tender-sure standards. Cunningham Road this time has already developed 3 potholes. What's more, these tender-sure roads have even been thrown open to traffic, making lives of citizens even worse. This comes after citizens have had to pay 8 times the cost of the usual road. Kochi Corporation is not far behind as well. The local audit report of 2014-15 reveals several irregularities within the corporation, including accounts, waste management, roadworks, etc. Now, the corporation has a total tax collection due of about 108 crore rupees. Several other lapses in revenue were also reported. The audit report expressed serious concerns over the financial management of the corporation. Meanwhile, heavy downpour in the city of Hyderabad continues. Wednesday saw one of the worst spells of rain this week, with several vehicles floating while several others broke down on the roads. Flooded apartment cellars also left many vehicles damaged. Close to 1,000 to 1,500 breakdowns were reported by the transport authorities.
All right, but that's a wrap on this edition of the Urban Debate 360. Thank you so much for watching.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.